Greetings and salutations. Welcome once again to the Dark of Bethany. I am your storyteller, your narrator, your number one fan, Nobody. And once again, for those who missed it, this is the Dark of Bethany, Season 2, Episode 1. She was the universe. We'd like to begin, as always, with a thank you from our hearts, minds, and souls to your time, your energies, and your efforts. We very much do appreciate your sharing the night with us. Hopefully you'll enjoy our play tonight as much as we hope to. Thank you. Hello. Greetings and salutations.
Gorgeous. How you doing?
You're a little low. Let me see if I can turn up my hearing. Nope, that's about as loud as it goes.
Make sure it's the right ouch.
The right ouch? Is there a wrong ouch?
Yes, there is.
Alright, so we have our status. Our glorious status. Burden with purpose, darker than the holy. We find ourselves in Bethany. It is a key location in the world of darkness because it is a watchtower city. Again, one of the major roads, one of the major expressways into Shreveport is Bethany's Main Street. Mm-hmm. That means the kindred of Bethany act and operate very much like watchtower guards for the most part, for a lot of things, for most things. They are the lights of Gondor being lit. They are the braziers along the Great Wall alerting mainland China that the Mongol horde is on their way. That's what Bethany serves as a whole. But underneath that, there's all of the small town intrigues and politics that one might expect in movies such as The Goonies or Stranger Things, Newspaper Girls. It is that sort of place. Hey, how we doing?
Had some homemade chili, cornbread, and now I'm settled.
Nice. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Well, death, taxes, cost of living, all that good stuff.
Sorry about that. No, I was bailing out of a game that I was playing because, for some reason it blanked on me that I had a game tonight.
I see.
I see you're just avoiding me.
I know. This is Bethany.
Yes.
Bethany. Help me figure out where my little office is.
On the corner of 8th and Main.
Wrong city.
Oh, you're right. On the corner of Main and 8th.
That's better. So...
Anita pulling thread. And yes, we were just at the point because we are a few moments before our hard start, and while the majority of our players are here, we still have two others that may or may not show up, and we'll dive in from there. We will be picking up seconds, if not the same time as the ending of our last episode. So one of the things is that Annabelle here was writing herself with were some details that she may need to know as a local of Bethany. So, you all worked out her connections and ties to each of your characters and what have you. So a little heads up, a little greeting. Hello. In regards to some of the things that she can expect or should know as a local Bethanite.
Okay, alright. Yeah, well, the moment I figured out that 75% of this town was related to the Hutchinsons, I figured that I was going to run into some trouble.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Welcome.
Hi.
Oh yeah, that's another bit of local news that you might need to know. The Hutchinsons are basically everywhere.
You leave my cousins out of this.
Your cousins will more than likely be a part of it, not by their own actions at some point, because I do have to feed once in a while.
I mean, that's fine.
You only eat on Hutchinson's?
I have made a point of it now.
There's some history there.
Well, more specifically, I feed on people that no one will care about / remember / people that don't like, that are not locals that are passing through. So the Hutchinsons are one of those that fall under the, like, if one of them goes missing, it's probably not that big of an issue, but if a bunch of them go missing, that's the issue.
All right, so like several months ago, we figured out connections, and I don't remember what we came up with.
Oh, I'm upset.
Yeah, you should be.
We put all that effort into it, and you forgot? Cannot believe you.
You should not believe me.
Okay, so, once again from the top, hi, I'm Joji. I run a pawn shop / work as a craftsman part-time.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
That one over there is, I believe that's Maddie, correct? Like, that's the name of your character in this setting.
Yeah.
Why no? She is a full-time craftsman, carpenter.
Nice.
And that's India. She's richer than all of us.
Good to be rich.
Indeed.
Well, I mean, it's my family's money. I don't really have access to it as much anymore, seeing I'm on the count of I'm dead.
Well,
You can inherit it. It's fine.
some very unfortunate things would have to happen for her to inherit it.
Yes, and
She likes her family, right?
does she though?
Yes. Yes?
Does she though?
Yes, I love them. My little
Sometimes.
nephew and niece, and my mom and dad, and my sister-in-law, who I don't know is fucking around on my dear departed brother.
Yeah. So, we're not going to be killing her family? Just,
Not anytime soon, at least.
unless she's related to the Hutchinsons, too. Are you related to please don't tell me you're related to the Hutchinsons.
You mean directly or indirectly?
I don't believe so.
Whichever way would make her a problem.
Fair enough.
So, directly. I don't think she's directly related to the Hutchinsons.
We should hope.
See, now that's the thing, because if she was related to the Hutchinsons, that means you can kiss the Hutchinsons.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
They got you. You're part of the family now.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't know how I feel about that. No, I know how I feel about that. Hell no!
This didn't work. This can work. This is good. This is good.
We're waiting on our resident Shy Hekata, correct?
Yeah, we are still a few moments outside of hard start. So what I was hoping, while we give them a few moments to catch up and all of that, was that we could bring Annabelle up to speed. Some of the things that she can expect, as you all are in fact local, so your individual viewpoints are important for bringing up someone who was formerly an SPC or NPC in the background.
All right, so from what perspective do you want? You want me to just give color commentary about the area, or Joji's perspective on Bethany?
Joji's color commentary.
Okay, so let's see. There's a surprisingly large number of people that are willing to sell off things that should matter to them. And I would say even more so, people who have things that are worth far more than they think. And this gives a bit of insight into the people that are here. They either don't care about the things that they should, or care too much about the things that they shouldn't. That is primarily because Joji's main source of income is more or less the small population of either addicts that live in Bethany or addicts that come down from Shreveport to pawn things off in a different city than what they acquired it in. His general assessment of Bethany is that they are, for the most part, good people. And he would like to keep it as quiet and peaceful a town as possible. Not only just for himself, but because he grew up here. And so there are, even in his undead state, there are emotional ties.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck the Hutchinsons, absolutely. Like, they shouldn't exist. We should do our best to get the rest of the good and God-fearing population of Bethany to want to get rid of the Hutchinsons. Like, they're all criminals, honestly. Not a single one of them is, at this point, without some kind of crime on their rap sheet. I honestly believe that they come out of the fucking birthing canal just to commit arson.
And you say this is a bad thing?
It's...
Again,
Yes.
leave my cousins out of it. They are my best source of food.
Your cousins... What's up?
The Hutchinsons are basically the cast of Sons of Anarchy if they were all related.
I was feeling more like Texas Chainsaw Massacre if they were a whole lot less incompetent, but I can agree with you. They absolutely brought me a masterpiece of an object and then mistreated it in front of my eyes, so I don't care for them. To be fair, like, I didn't even mean to piss them off, but, if you fucking insult one of them, you insult the whole clan!
And yet you keep insulting the one in front of you.
I mean, technically, she is not a Hutchinson.
Yeah, I don't know, 2% does not a Hutchinson make.
Fair.
Like, 3, maybe 4 generations back. They're cousins, that's it.
And let's put it this way, if the person has red hair, fear.
I only feed on the Hutchinsons who won't. I only feed on the Hutchinsons who want me to.
We got about 6 minutes till our hard start. India and Maddie, you guys are up to bring Annabelle up to speed. India's perception on things and Maddie's perception on things in regards to where we are as a town. Because unlike those large cities out there in the night, Bethany is a united people. We are united against all those things out there. Because after all, Bethany's a special sort of place in the world. It gets into your skin, it gets in your heart and soul, and you breathe Bethany long after you have failed to exist.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, okay. From India's point of view, growing up as the rodeo princess in a family that's known for having boys and being ranchers and such, she still has the older brother, but her dad wanted her to be a second boy in a way, while her mother liked dressing her up like a doll. So there's that juxtaposition there. It's the town where everybody knows your business, but then they won't tell you their business, and you find out from somebody else their business. The type of town, like when you're growing up, if you do some shit downtown, by the time you walk your ass home, your parents are gonna know about it and beat your ass. That sort of situation.
Weirdly, I grew up in a
Take
town
the village to raise children.
I grew up in a town that was not that small, and I still had that issue. It was very...
Yeah, so this is very much that. There is like one general store, a couple churches, couple bars. There are more bars and churches than there are grocery stores. And you gotta drive a ways to go get to a Walmart or anything bigger than a feed store. People probably ride horses through town more than they take cars. horse culture is very big, sort of situation. Of course, country music, trucks, but then there's a little bit of spice from that Louisiana side, so that it's not as fast-paced as Texas, but a little bit faster than Louisiana with that slow southern sweet tea type of situation. Like I said, it's a very much you've either dated or somehow related to your cousin dated your sister, like everybody's dated each other through a vast web of interpersonal relationships. All the families are loosely related in some other way, unless they marry outside of town, which is usually a no-no, but
but sometimes
a lot of times the younger generation looks for ways to escape, whether that be they move to the city and go get the higher book learning, or they go to the army or another armed force like her brother did. They try their best to get out, but somehow, some way, a good half to maybe 3/4 of them get pulled back and are now the new generation of Bethany. So that's kind of how I see it.
nice.
While you chit chat, we have 2 minutes, so give me 1 quick second. I'll be right back.
All right, I guess that's me then. Maddie is kind of a loner type. She doesn't really have too many opinions other than why the fuck am I still here? And oh yeah, because they've told me I can't leave yet. So she's what was that?
Who told you can't leave?
People more important than she is. So yeah, she feels a little bit stuck, but she makes the best of it. I mean, she has her little business that she runs and makes some money that way, does some work on the side, partly because of her relationship and partly because of the role that she has played in our smaller community in Bethany. People don't necessarily know to think of her like as a thug, or is she smart? There's just like they just don't know, and that kind of colors everything.
So I think we had established my vague recollections that my family and maybe India's family went back away, and that Joji needed therapy, and that was it you that was the handyman person who renovated my office for me?
That probably would have been, yeah.
Okay.
Because she's less of a handyman. She's very handy, but she's a carpenter specifically.
Yes. Okay. And last we left y'all, you were you just accidentally liberated something from a mirror.
Accurate. Yes, that is very accurate. We suspect. We don't know exactly what the fuck it was.
I mean, liberate is such a strong word.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
You freed them from their prison,
Free your mind.
as should we all.
I mean, just because we're there freed doesn't mean we did it on purpose.
Now, that is a perspective you can have. How's that working out for you?
Very good.
I see nothing wrong with this plan.
Honestly, if you're going to free an eldritch being, you might as well take the credit and get something out of it.
Oh, I don't know so much about that.
Hard pass. Though we did manage to get them out of town in a short period of time.
That's what I said. Basically, the job was we as in the collective of Kindred, normally chase the carnival out every time they show up. So, depending on whose turn it is, it's like a lottery. You get your name pulled, you gotta go do your job to keep shit running smoothly. So it was our turn. And then we all showed up and shit went to hell.
And like 3 days later, they left.
Yeah. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
I mean, I would like to point out that only one of us got savaged by the lion.
And it wasn't me.
She will look pointedly at the person she was guarding before that happens.
Hey, look, I was all ready to shoot him, but they took him away.
So what's your plan now?
I think we've done our job, so, like...
I don't know, because I don't know whether we're getting a time skip or not.
But have you done your job successfully?
Yes?
Successfully, yes. They did, in fact, leave town.
Well, the Hutchinsons, they ain't never going nowhere.
That's a failure in another light.
No, but in all due... welcome back and all. We are a little bit past hard start, so we can safely assume that Lita will not be joining us. Missives sent and all of that. So we will assume that life does what life does, which is occasionally cause hiccups here and there, or what have you. That being the case, allow me to, as is my immortal self, the one thing that is 100% consistent and constant with me. I appreciate all of your time and your efforts and the various amounts of energy it requires to be here to take part in this hobby. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, a time-intensive thing, especially when it's done even remotely half as well as this troupe of players have managed to do it. What that means is that it gets under your skin. You get a chance to live the life of these characters for a few hours, once, twice a week, sometimes more, and then there you are on a random middle of the day Thursday, and what they should have done or could have done or might have done or will do will pop through your head. It's a beautiful hobby, and I thank you all for taking part and helping me to play. With all of that said and done, long way round, this is officially, without a shadow of a doubt, The Dark of Bethany, Season 2, Episode 1. Tonight's episode, picking up seconds, moments at the denouement of Season 1's finale. which when we left this coterie of kindred, surviving the onslaught of the unknown, shattering the mirrors that were part of the oubliette of the circus, breaking their contract, as it were, fulfilling a prophecy, and managing to survive, which are not three things easily done in regards to this particular circus, this particular group of strange and wondrous individuals who have been persisting through the region and the nation for far longer than any mortal being could be expected to do so. There was one small hiccup, one small major moment, which we will be picking up in the midst of exiting the trailer, exiting that other space, stopping Fortuna from traveling down the lane and ending her existence, at least in the moment. There's still time for that, sad though that might be, or joyous though it may seem. Exiting the trailer, the coterie finds the entirety of the visible regions of Bethany shrouded in complete absence of light. Scarred mentally, emotionally, and physically though they are, that is a glaring alarm bell ringing through them and the other cries in the night. Voices ringing out in surprise, shock, and alarm. Those denizens of the area and from as far away as Shreveport who've come to take part in this carnival and this circus and the enjoyment of the Midway, stuck wherever they are in darkness, because one thing links every being that is alive and has been alive: the dark is unsafe. Not because you know what's out there, not because you understand what's lurking behind every shadow, but because you don't know what's out there in the dark, which creates the opportunity for everything to be out there in the dark. Or worse, for the worshipful, for those who have light in their heart, soul in their minds, and a song of worship always on their lips. Entering into a dark place is one thing. Entering into the absence of everything shakes the very foundations of their particular religion. Because when you die, there should be something, some reward, some punishment, some justification for all of life's efforts, some reward for the faith. The absence creates doubt in so many dreadful ways. So many dark tendrils creeping around the heart, squeezing it to a stop. Because most people in the area are in fact Christian. And everyone believes that in the beginning there was darkness. So being shunted away from all of the light, everything electronic stopping, everything that emanates any semblance of illumination, blinking out of awareness, just stopping. Even the bonfire off there in the distance that the Hutchinsons were dancing, drinking, fighting, and other things around, like the very real neo-pagans that they are at heart. Even that illumination stopping. So, and
oh fuck. Oh.
So we're
That's
going
rough.
to do our usual alphabetical entrance to this moment. 15 minutes ago, on your average evening, would Annabelle have been with a client?
Yes. She
Okay.
keeps busy.
Okay. Excellent. And not so much so. Great for a pocketbook, but in this particular moment, 15 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, everything was as it was supposed to be. Everything was tried and true, average, normal, every day, every night, every dreadful, ticking, endless second of the night. As it always is. The warm glow of her table lamp, the sound of her pen sliding along paper, the electronic glow from whatever laptop or screen she uses as a way to measure time and keep additional notes, all of the standard fixtures of her practice, all of the standard fixtures of her average night, and then nothing. Then the absence of light. The patient, the client, palpitating, their breathing coming ragged, hard, and fast. The fear building, wafting off of them like oversprayed Axe body spray, tingled and mixed with sweat, flop sweat, suddenly appearing, materializing on them as if it was some magic trick.
Calm yourself.
Okay. You still here? Why can't I see you? Am I blind? Is this hysterical blindness? Oh my god.
Have you never been in the dark before?
This isn't dark. I can't see your window. I can't see you. Wait, where's your screen? I know the power may went up, but why isn't your iPad on? Oh god.
Annabelle is kind of enjoying this. She because she can smell the fear on the person, she just walks quietly over and puts her hand on their shoulder. It's like out of nowhere. And she says, "Sit with this fear. I'll be right back." And she just leaves them. She's been in the office enough that she knows the basic layout, and she doesn't have windows in her actual office. And while it's never been quite this dark before, she has she has enough awareness of where she is to find the door, so she can go, like, basically look out and see if it's just inside where she is. She's going to go to the nearest window and look out. In theory.
She's gonna go to the nearest pane that feels a little bit smoother than the wall.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Usual surroundings. There's no real need to fear stumbling or falling or anything horrendously slapstick in that regards. The problem arises. The mind takes in several thousand megabytes, gigabytes of data constantly, and a lot of it gets lost in translation, but it's still there, it's still perceived, it's still flooding up all of the lovely creases of one's mind, which is detrimental in this particular case, because exiting and following her path in regards to knowing her surroundings of her office and the space therein, knowing where the window is, there should be light from the stars overhead. There should be glare from the nearest street lamp, which is actually, 1/20th of a mile away from her main window. They're on PR 7531. It's right up the road from Rogers Air Conditioning, around the corner from the post office, which is down there almost to 79. And yet there's not the faintest glare of anything. There's not even the reflection of her face as she stands in front of the cooled space that is in fact the window. Because even that lie about double pane glass stopping energy filtration and making the home warmer, there is still always a small coolness to the window at this hour of the evening. There's no reflection, there's no light, there's no illumination whatsoever. And more troubling,
And
without illumination there shouldn't be a reflection. Yet as she gets closer to her window, as she rests her hand against it, she can see a faint phantasmal reflection of herself.
When her eyes start to glow red because she knows there's nobody around her, does it light up the room?
No. She's able to see clearer. The piercing gaze of her beast does allow her to see where she is in this absence of every facet of light, yet it doesn't light up the room. It's not actually reflecting any light. It's not refracting anything and magnifying it. Her beast is literally her night lamp. Her beast is literally lighting its way towards what it fears or feels is safety. Standing in front of the window, that phantasmal reflection shouldn't be possible. There's no light source. There's no way of anything reflecting back, yet she can see a ghostly, pale, phantasmal version of herself. A reflection, if you will. Save the eyes aren't a horrendous, horrid red. The eyes are her eyes. Let's do the stereotypical touch.
Yeah.
All right. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus dominate? As high as you can.
Absolutely. Let's see, where's the dice? I don't think I have dominate, so just resolve. Whoops, that didn't work. I got 2.
Two is not horrible. In the
What
grand
could go wrong?
in the grand scheme of things, 2 is not horrible at all.
Yeah, definitely not. Especially not with the.
She touches the cold.
With the, yeah.
She touches the cold window. She touches the cool window. And at the moment of contact, her undead skin against all of that lovely, well-manufactured, double-pane, argon gas, energy-efficient window. India, you, Joji, and Maddie have stepped out of the trailer. You, Joji, and Maddie with Fortuna in tow, covered in bits of glass, broken mirror, and the scars of this evening's efforts all about you. The sky overhead should be cloudy and star-filled, and you should see the cast-off light pollution from all of the attractions there on the midway. You should see the roaring, clearly dangerously large bonfire of the Hutchinsons off there in the distance, and in fact, what you see is darkness.
Oh, that's odd. He looks around. That's really, really fucking odd.
I don't know how they did it, but they turned the whole fucking world off.
Maddie is gonna stand there and cross her arms, tilt her head to the side. Y'all see that, right?
You mean the lack of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't, residual me being stuck in a mirror again.
I hope. Did it has nothing to do with? No, it definitely. Well, what am I talking about? I'm hoping that it's something that has happened outside of the mirror, and not that I just got fucking tricked into thinking I was outside the mirror, whether I can dragged in.
Nah.
Why is this happening?
I mean, could just be a certain family or two having a really good time.
No, everybody sounds about as panicked as we do right now. So I don't think anybody playing this, except for that crazy ass old lady.
Does anyone have a humanity at or higher?
This has got to do with that fucking. Last session, it was mentioned to us the thing that was in there, right? Oh, I don't necessarily know if it was named Mirrory. There we go.
Yes, that was one of the things.
I do not have.
Fortuna did
not me.
Okay, so no one has humanity at 8 or higher, and the reason why I'm asking is because one of the many aspects of being as in touch with your semblance of your former life, your former existence, your place as human, is the sounds of suffering as a horribly punitive thing to the human soul. The sounds and the sights of something suffering, the screams of fear, the actual soulful wails happening out there in the darkness, from those who are stuck on the Ferris wheel to those who are stuck on the topsy-turvy, those who were mid-throw or holding guns in their hands that aren't theirs for the air rifle. It is a maelstrom of panic, fear, and worse. It usually takes most civilized individuals a couple of days, a few hours to do small petty things, but typically a couple of days to fall into the bedlam of no one can stop me, might makes right, none of the previous social mores apply. Unfortunately, you mix in alcohol. Unfortunately, you mix in a heightened emotional state to begin with. Unfortunately, you mix in the fact that most of the persons who have arrived at the circus and carnival tonight are from elsewhere. They're from a pace down the road. They're from a piece far northern down the road. They're from over yonder. They're not from right here. So opportunity, heightened emotionality, alcohol create a fuse that is burning extraordinarily quick. The screams of fear and the panic, the wailful mourns, the suffering of those who have a vivid imagination sitting in the absence of light, without any warm-up, no flickering of lights, no people getting nervous. It was bright, well lit, active 1 second, and then complete and total pitch black, dark the next. And seconds ticking by, moments disappearing into the next, minutes adding up, and all of that fraught human avarice becomes something else. Those with the inclination or bent towards such things. Begin a nudge here, or a trip and fall, hoping to catch that pretty guy they saw who was riding that rice burner over there, get a quick couple of feels, or maybe a quick couple of kicks, or worse. And the wheels of panic and fear give way to the exhalations of pain, emotional, physical, spiritual pain. This is a before and after moment for a lot of people. And as the cries around you shift, what is it that you all attempt or do?
Yeah, so our gig was primarily just to fucking cause chaos at this place and get the cops down here. I don't necessarily think that this is within the scope of that task, so perhaps, trying to get the fuck out safely is an idea?
Maddie is gonna grin almost wolfish grin with a little gleam in her eye. She's like, I don't know about y'all, but could be a good night for food.
Yeah, but like, how are you gonna find it?
It's all over.
It is literally at your feet. Fortuna is bleeding as you all talk.
Yeah, so we might want to, get her to some kind of medical treatment. If you're actually intending on keeping her alive, maybe ghouling her is an option. Hello?
India has a dot in medicine, so she would kneel down close to Fortuna and try her best to staunch the bleeding.
Okay, she has a dot in medicine.
Here they are.
Standard triage for a self-inflicted blade wound is not that far beyond the pale. Doing it in the dark and doing your best to keep the torn strips of fabric used to staunch and tie off the damage makes it extraordinarily difficult. You've helped birth calves with less difficulty than doing this blind with a person who clearly wants to die. And unlike you, she seems to be able to see. You're so pretty, covered in blood. Y'all gon' feed so well. Just the beautiful of you all. Oh.
Why don't you do me a favor and focus on something else? How about you tell me what the hell y'all are while I'm doing this?
I'm supposed to be dying. I don't want to be here when she has her way with each and every one of you.
Oh, that is not good. That is not a good sound. Do you know how we might be able to stop her? Or at the very least keep ourselves from dying?
The eeriest thing, this eyeless woman, this woman who has seen more decades than even you, who are in fact dead, has seen. Her wrinkled skin feeling very much like vellum. Her hair looking very much like hundreds of thousands of spiders decide to spin their web in the same exact place. Her smile surprisingly toothy, little small half-sized teeth, all neatly filed into the exact same height and distance. There's no difference between her canines and her bicuspids. They are exactly the same length, they are exactly the same shape. Little small chiclet-sized yellowed ivory bits of something in her mouth. Her overly pink, almost bright red tongue dancing between her words as she opens her mouth and tries to find words or something to say. And she looks dead at you with those eyeless orbs and begins to... There is something that happens very interesting, Annabelle, when you fall into something. The inertia usually causes the blood to rush from one portion of yourself to the next. However, in this case, none of those factors, none of those feelings take place. Yet you know that you are in fact falling. You can feel yourself falling from a great height. Yet none of the usual effects of gravity or vertigo are happening.
Annabelle is no longer enjoying herself. This was gonna be a great night. Everybody was gonna face their fear of the void, and now what the fuck is going on? She tries to catch herself, tries to see anything, but it's very dark. And I don't think anything is how it should be. Because somebody fucked up.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how afraid of herself is Annabelle?
Afraid of herself?
Yes. She's a psychoanalyst, a psychotherapist, so she understands the difference between the ego, the id, and the superego. If all of those things combined outside of her control, how afraid of that gestalt being would she be? Her without the compunctions of consideration. Her without considering all those things that matter to her. Her as her own actual adversary. Not a separate voice, not an intrusive thought, but the full manifestation of all things she can bring to bear leveled against herself.
Well, she thought she'd gotten a pretty good handle on that when she was embraced into the ministry. But yet, this is so far out of her control. It's not her choosing to give up control or to embrace the lack of control. It is entirely outside of herself, and that knowing who she is when she lets go, she does not want to meet herself in a dark alley.
So the answer is very.
Very, yeah.
So, finding herself...
And unless she...
Mm-hmm. You're saying?
Unless she's on the same side as herself, in which case it's great.
So finding herself in her childhood kitchen with the adult version of herself standing at the stove with a cast iron skillet, what's the first thought that comes to mind?
First thing that comes to mind is I hope the oil's not hot.
It is. It begins to sizzle the moment you think that.
Fuck.
The moment she thinks, the moment she says, or the split of a fuck, a brief flickering 1/1000th of a second image of her father and her mother having a very enjoyable moment pops through her head.
Okay, cognitive dissonance. This is fine. Not, well, I don't know what's going on, but it's fine. My parents, they were, human. Humans have sex. That's fine. That's how I was created.
Her mother appears in front of her. Her mother appears in front of her wearing a ball gag.
God damn it, Mom.
I'm sorry, this is only so please continue.
She's in the kitchen with the oil sizzling up, and she looks at herself. Control, you understand, is in fact an illusion. No one is actually in control of anything except for what they do with the impulses. And what are you choosing to do right in this particular moment, knowing that the eventuality of this is, well, your death?
So I am myself in my childhood kitchen. There's another me with a frying pan, and my mom's over there, like...
Every time you look, it gets more graphic.
That's somewhere having fun.
Every time you look, it gets more graphic.
I take the pan from myself, and I throw the oil on my parents, and I say, pay some fucking attention to me. That was cathartic.
It was. The effort of fighting back. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure? Your DC is 4. There's nothing more disgusting to look at except for another person eating with their mouth open. India, Joji, Maddie, as you stare into Fortuna's space, because that's not really fair to say you're looking into her face when that disgustingly warm and moist tongue is flicking around and licking the bottom of those oh so square, oh so perfectly shaped facsimile of teeth. It's clearly not dentures. It is clearly her. However long it's taken her to age to whatever age she actually is. And while normally you'd think that the glaringly open, empty sockets would be the most eye-catching and disgusting portion of this withered crone's face, no, it is that tongue as she open-mouthedly responds, much like you would under stress, to India's administrations of attempting to save her existence. You can tell, even without the eyes there, that she's looking out of her peripheral vision at India as she keeps her face turned towards Joji, who was trying to distract her with conversation, and that horribly bright tongue is licking those teeth as she Schlick.
What am I being witness to right now? Oh, okay. I'm just,
Okay.
Alright, lady, that is fucking disgusting. Yeah. Please.
Okay. I'll make you a trade. I'll hurry your ending along if you tell me what the fuck these people all are.
Special children of Prometheus, children of fire, servants of Mirari. Oh my goodness, why am I so lightheaded? It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Does that make sense to either of y'all before I do what I promised?
No.
Andy, you hear from somewhere out there in the dark. There's only one person on the entirety of God's great green mud ball that you all reside on that has ever called you Andy. And it's someone who's been dead a lot longer than he should have been. Someone who died valiantly saving his men. Someone who actually had a parade down Main Street before he was shipped off.
In the midst of that, I don't know how well they can see her, but her head jerks up and she looks in the direction of her name.
Who has heightened senses? Up?
I do, and I suffered for it.
Oh, yes, you entirely do. Because as India begins looking left and right, trying to pierce the darkness, you hear the wind pick up in a way that it shouldn't. Everything has happened for you in slow motion for the bulk of your existence as a kindred. Yet, hearing the wind pick up as if it is, in fact, several men side by side moving in formation as they work their way through the crowd is disturbing, because not only are you picking up all of the screams of panic and other emotions happening out there in the dark, but hearing the wind begin taking the uniform steps of a group of men moving through the crowd is eerie. It's invisible footsteps. It is the presence of something that you can neither see nor touch, but know that it is in fact there. And first it's one, then it's joined by another, then by another, then by another. You count easily 5, 10, 12, 15 focused, determined, and clearly practiced men moving in unison through the crowd.
We might want to move. Does it sound like they're approaching us specifically, or just moving through the crowd?
Homing in like heat-seeking missiles.
Okay, yeah, no, we need to go now, away from that direction. He gestures towards the noise.
Andy.
No, you dead. I can't, nope. I'm always said, you hear your name called in the dark. No, you didn't.
Maddie, as the one person who doesn't have heightened senses and who's not peering into the dark, do you know what cordite smells like?
It smells delicious. Sorry. Right? Yeah, I'm familiar.
You begin to pick up the whiff of it. First, subtly, like one of the burners there in the midways, a good distance off. Maybe some of the kernels got stuck. Maybe some of the oil is burning. Maybe some of the sugar is stuck to the side of one of the cotton candy machines. But no, the emanations are far closer than they should be. And as India is looking around and as Joji's advising you all to leave, you smell the very tantalizing scent of frying human flesh.
Ooh.
Now that's a tantalizing smell.
You try to seek the origin of that scent.
I mean, she doesn't exactly eat that kind of food, delicious as it smells.
Fortuna's finger.
Which is to say, no, she's not looking for it.
Fortuna's fingers. And it's creeping up the palm of her hands, over the back of it, slowly crawling along her forearm, up over her bicep and past her tricep. And you've never seen someone spontaneously combust, especially when smelling of used fry oil. Joji, life moves fast. You never know what you're really going to get. And as you're advising retreat from this moment, from this place, as the sounds of that cadre of individuals get closer and closer, you begin to smell the mineral oil from their firearm. You begin to scent the dry, dusty air from some place where you've never been. You begin to pick up on the refined and refracted scent of men laid atop of men so often as their scents begin to mix and mingle together. And just when you are able to just about pinpoint exactly where out there in the dark it is originating from and how close it is, not just the sound of it and guesstimating distance, but close enough where you begin to almost see where they are through the crowd, the delicious scent of bacon hits your nose. In India, the voice getting closer and you saying no and no, and you realize that you've backed away before you finish the last bandage on Fortuna's left arm, the one that's closest to you, because you work farther near worst wound to lightest wound, and you begin to smell fresh bacon crisping and frying up Sunday mornings as pound after pound of it was served, thick sliced and crunchy with the edges all so toasty and bubbly. And you realize that scent is coming from Fortuna.
She spider crawls backwards, like freaking out, like this ain't right. I can't save her. I'm done. I need to get away from here. All of those things going through her head as she just kind of backward crawls away from Fortuna.
Andy.
All right, so glad to see you're on board. Can we all move now, please? I don't like being here. This carnival is really fucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of why they sent us here. And she'll look down at the body that is doing whatever it is it's doing, and she'll frown.
Sizzle.
Yeah,
Man, that's a waste of a perfectly good dinner.
Sizzle, sizzle, pop. The skin just crisping as if it's been doused in pounds and pounds of oil. It is that annoyingly beautiful fry that happens when you have the perfect amount of oil to your protein inside of a skillet. The edges turning nice caramelized golden brown, bubbling up slightly with the air from the oil mixing and mingling with the fat layer of the protein.
Oh god, I'm gonna need to see Annabelle for this type of shit. It's gonna stick with me.
Maddie will crouch down and try to pluck a few of her hairs from her head before they run off. Might come in useful.
And as you crouch down and reach for that spider's nest of ancient, decrepit hairs, it is cathartic to stand up and face the dangers, that you felt from your past, to provide and give yourself the strength necessary to understand that you survived those moments and you no longer need to carry them with you. At least that's what every book, mentor, class, and conference you've ever taken part of says. At least that's what they always say. At least that's what you've always taught. That's what you always understood and understand. Yet, watching your mother reach for you, covered in oil, her skin melting away one layer at a time before your very eyes, the ball gag holding her screams from escaping at the right decibel that it should when someone is covered in cooking oil. Your father, the entirety of his chest burned through. You can see the very individual fibers of the muscles of his pectorals. You can see so very much that you didn't wish to see, because you're able to, thanks to the oil burning away a good portion of his skin on his face, see the mucus layer of his face, where the muscles begin to twitch and move beneath with emotionality. The tear ducts have been burned to the point where there aren't any tears that are possible, and yet those open, bright eyes staring on you lovingly, silent as they always were.
Oh God, I did not need to see this bullshit.
But didn't you? Isn't this what you want? Isn't this what you need? The last hurdle between you and yourself? Embracing everything that you are, all that you gave away, life, the opportunity of real love, touch, and then you feel the light scrape of a palm along your shoulders, sliding down your arms. And you know that touch. You've held your arms in that exact same way. It's to warm them up after one cold client or another. You know what your hands feel like. And having them touch your arms in the way that they are is, well, what is it exactly? Feeling you caress you.
First, it is absolutely fucking freaking her out. Like she jumps and like whirls to face herself, and it's seeing her own eyes from when she was still alive, and seeing the love in them is just shattering. And she can't stop herself from crying. And she steps forward to herself and she just reaches out and touches her shoulder as well, so they kind of mirror each other. Just staring into each other's eyes.
The warmth of yourself, the difference in temperatures from your hand on her and her hand on you, which is you touching you at different points of your existence, is, well, it's not an easy thing to understand, because there are a few lines from late night studying that are there at the corners of her eyes that have long disappeared from yours. There's the actual tears dancing at the corner of her eyes that don't have the tinge of pink from the Vitae. There are the actual blood vessels of her eyes operating as per normal instead of the slightly bulged, distended because of the thickness of the Vitae coursing through when you attempt to seem human. Staring into a mirror is a difficult thing for most people, because somewhere along the way you invariably let yourself down. You invariably do something that you are not proud of. Meeting your own eyes in the mirror is meeting your idealized self, a version of you that didn't make those mistakes, a version of you who is living its best possible existence, and doing so in the flesh is even more so of that. The rest of this world, the rest of this kitchen falling away as you stare into all of your boundless possibilities of what could have been, what should have been, if not for... Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure? Your DC is 3.
I cannot type. Bestial failure.
Ooh. I'm ready.
I won.
The kiss is normally a beautiful thing. You're not just going to eat yourself, you're going to consume the very essence of what you were. You're going to subsume all that had ever been positive and bright in you. And there's something as freeing as it is destructive, understanding that's exactly what you are going to do. There is something enlivening about knowing just how deplorable you can and will be. Looking at all of that fresh, vital, living version of yourself. That old poem, that old chestnut from Frost about two paths diverging in a wood. You are about to take them both at once as your fangs distend. And for a brief flickering moment as you look into your own eyes, as you take you into your own embrace, there's a happiness that you haven't felt since forever. There's a purity of, aha, gotcha, that shouldn't be there. And it's all a little, too late by months as you drink down all of that cool darkness, taking all of that silvery metallic essence into yourself. And as you gag through all of that deliciously warm, shattered nothingness, impossible is usually only defined by one's inability to imagine. Impossible is usually defined by what's outside of your normal paths of thought. Impossible is that thing, that moment, that instance that you've reached the end of your imagination and the end of your logical or illogical school of thought. What exists outside of that feels, it seems, impossible. And as Fortuna is not Fortuna any longer, it's impossible. There's no transmutation of flesh that makes such things possible. There's no way that is in fact possible. And yet, as you pluck at that spider's nest of hairs, you have to move aside all of that thick, dark, luxurious hair. You have to ignore the scent of blood on the wind, and you have to all but push the kindred laying atop her off. Do you continue to do so, Maddie?
Well, absolutely. Just a shame I couldn't get her tongue too.
Okay.
There's a sweet spot on every cigar that every cigar smoker knows. That you smoke it down to the sweet spot. That way, when you get there, it is a dose of heaven. It is the full taste of that rolling smoke, the taste of that leaf, the perfect temperature. It is a momentary bit of almost orgasmic pleasure all at once, hitting the sweet spot on a cigar. It's the same thing for Kindred when they drain their victims. After a point, you reach the point of no return. That point where everything is in perfect balance. The pleasure that they are filling you with and the pleasure that they are feeling is perfectly balanced on that nice edge. One drop too much, one drop too little, and all of that changes. But when you get to that point where you're sucking and lapping in time to the ebbing of their heart, when you can feel their memories beginning to bombard your tongue, you are there at that sweet spot. And just as you are nearly there, you can feel the waning heart cease to be. Maddie's moving you away from yourself. And you realize that you're not drinking down yourself. You realize that you're drinking down a deep, countrified, eyeless, ancient woman in the dirt of, well, somewhere.
And we all see this
Yes.
individual just apparate. Okay.
Yeah, Maddie's seen weird.
There's a 1-2 triple take, quadra take, as Joji's just like, how the fuck? Is she a shapeshifter or something?
No, the corpse is there, nearly desiccated, perfectly golden fried.
Oh god.
No.
Oh. You know, actually, you show up at the perfect time. Hey, can we schedule? I don't know about you, but I just watched an near dying, bleeding out old lady experience nirvana, then burst into flames. Have you been here this entire time, or am I just going batshit?
What?
I'm glad that we have the same thoughts.
Nah, she wasn't here a few minutes ago.
Okay.
She wasn't here. But we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been saying. Thank you. Sorry, I just got fucking hit like a semi-truck mentally by my therapist apparating.
Where are we?
We're at the carnival outside the city, next to the church.
And... Okay.
How about this? We can just discuss this once we're no longer being marched upon by the sound of a bunch of men, okay? Let's just go.
Alright. Far be it from me to stop you. Let's go.
Andy.
Maddie is gonna look around,
India.
all confused.
Does anybody have like a compass or something? Because I don't know how to navigate pitch fucking black.
India, what were you saying?
India has, even though it's childish and it probably is not gonna work, she has stuck her fingers in her ear and is la-la-laing to ignore her brother calling her name.
So as you all are privy to this, it is not without all undue non-exaggeration the one member of your present group of associates who is in fact armed has stuck both hands, fingers extended into her ear, and is singing la 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 la, mixing and mingling with the sounds of, well, futile expressions of fear, grief, animalistic pleasure that are erupting all over the extended circus grounds.
Yeah, y'all have lost it.
This is why I don't fuck with circus people.
Circus people have nothing to do with it.
Okay. How about we just... what are you saying, Indy?
She just kind of looks at them because she can still hear them even though she's pretending she can't hear anything. I could probably lead us out of here by smell, but it's not an exact science. And there's a lot of people and there's a lot of fear in the air right now.
Okay, well...
I can see.
Like, how far can you see?
A question. Can you see my eyes?
No.
Great. I'll lead you. Take my hand. And I just offer Joji my hand and I say, make a chain. Like you're 5 fucking years old. Let's go.
Great.
And I pick a direction that is away from the sound of feet, and I go the back way.
Maddie, and what are you all doing?
Well, I guess I'm taking up the rear.
Enunciation is clear.
Leading them out.
Is she leading them out what?
As she's leading Joji out, India will link hands with Joji because she doesn't want to get left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a very, very inopportune thing to do in a particular moment. There's a reason why sires typically leave their children alone when they've been embraced. A slew of conversation, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but give them time alone, especially if they're young sires who partake in the sharing of blood once the childer is properly embraced. Proximity increases potential. Proximity redoubles the effect of most things, and there's nothing more proximal than touch. You all are old enough to have had those moments of reliving past sexual exploits. You know, you're minding your own business and then something reminds you of your partner. Something reminds you of that moment that you shared. The moment you touch Joji's hands, you and he relived that moment of shared understanding. As animalistic as it was, both of you partaking of each other's blood in the way that you did, both of you taking that moment, linked you in the way that most normal kindred would never give voice to. There's that understanding that in the middle and the core of both of what you all are is something similar enough to be the same. There is a balance due of fully understanding one another that springs forth like an explosion the moment you two touch hands.
Great. just as he's walking, kind of like the moment their hands touch, and he gets this almost electric shock of an experience. He'll just freeze up as he's living through it. And just on one side, there is Dr. Hafiz, who's holding his hand. On the other side, there's India, and he is just stopped in the middle of their little convoy.
Come on, children, we are in a hurry. And she tugs his hand. Or I can leave you. I don't need you.
Please, don't. Sorry, that was unexpected.
What was?
I don't. He looks back towards the ambiguous darkness that is on the other end of his hand. Since woohoo, I don't really know, but
oh no, you very well know, and that's the problem. Because as you look back, you shouldn't be able to make out the outline of India. Yet, for a brief moment, you can swear that you do. You can swear you know exactly where her eyes are. You know where her deliciously tantalizing neck is. You know where the arteries align with where she's approximately standing based on where her hand is and what you can almost see. It is the dark portion of the moon when you stare up and you see a crescent moon and your mind fills in the rest. That's what you see. In all of the dark, she is the brightest spot for you in this moment. And the worst thing about being that close to one another and reliving that moment is you begin to hear it too. Indy. Indy girl, Indy.
India, did we confirm whether or not Joji was around during the time that your brother was alive and present?
She would have, Joji would have known Michael, before he left for war. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a little younger than Joji, but he would have known Michael.
And just like, at first, whenever he looks back and realizes that he's holding on to India, just kind of getting momentarily, stunned by the intrusive thoughts that still working off the high of the kiss does to you, and then he hears that India, like, what the fuck is Michael? Why can I hear Michael?
That's the question. Why can't I hear Michael? Yes, I know I hear him too, and that's what I was trying to avoid. And oddly enough, the smile that she had originally had on her face when their hands touched has all but been wiped away.
Okay, this is just driving me to want to get the fuck out of here more. Lead on, Dr. Hafiz.
Right. We can discuss this later. And she pulls the chain of people along with her.
This is basically every bad story I was ever told as a child wrapping into one. I'm so fucking happy I get to experience this.
You should be. It is very life-changing to experience something like this, and you'll be reflecting on it for years. Perhaps it'll bring you to a better place.
I hope you bring me to a better place.
I'm working on it.
There's something unnerving about the dark for everything, for every being that is in existence. The dark holds its own power. For Christians, it very much does go back to typically that first couple of days in Sunday school, where you hear the story of Genesis, where you hear in the beginning was the dark. Which is funny when you think about how that story is always told. It is always in the beginning there was the dark. It doesn't start with God existed in the darkness before all things, which changes the focus of it. Yet it always begins in the beginning there was the dark. And therein lies the problem, because the dark brings all sorts of absent subconscious thoughts to the fore. It worries and nags and picks at the corners of one's vision. You can't see anything, yet the dark is there waving and moving, causing things to happen at the corner of your eyes. You can't discern one thing from the next, yet your mind begins filling in that darkness with shapes. Your imagination taking over, and even as under normal circumstances you can't envision, yet now in the dark you can. The dark plays with everyone's minds and gives nothing but the truths that it chooses for you to have. So as you all are making your way across the Strickland Cemetery grounds, headed in no particularly easily known direction, but by heading southwest from where you all are, across the little frontage road that leads around the back of the cemetery, doubles back onto Strickland Springs Road, and there's a pond there southeast of where you all are, leading to the creek, which leads down and around towards the American Plant Road. You all begin to fill in like your mental map. You all know, well, not Dr. Hafiz, but you all know you were at Strickland Springs. You know that is one of the largest cemeteries in the area. You know that there's a pond, and there's a little small runoff pond, and there's a creek that heads due northeast away from where you all are. You begin to fill those details in absently as the sound of Michael calling you from the distance is there. So while Joji and India are beset by ghosts of the past, memories, because that's literally all it can be, it's your imagination playing havoc with you, right? Maddie, you're not that lucky. There are no ghosts of the past that are whispering sweet susurrus nothings in your ear. You hear the electric tingle that you shouldn't. It's that buzz that you always have when you know that Jerry's not far away, because he is literally always broadcasting. He is literally always measuring the white noise. He is literally always hunting things out there in the dark. He lives out there in the dark. He often goes months or weeks out in the middle of nowhere with an open mic, picking up all the sounds that humans should not be, in fact, privy to. And it's disturbing because there's no way the confluence of things that would be necessary for him to have decided to visit a carnival and as you all continue on your way southwest of Strickland across one tombstone, one plot, continually heading southwest, hoping to escape the overwhelming pressure of the darkness. It is 50 after the hour. Let's take a hot 10 minutes and be back here at the turning of the hour. A little bit close to time. How we doing?
Good. Just thinking about that guy I left in the office.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I mean, he may not have been your snack, but he's been someone's snack.
Probably.
Indubitably. I think the pulp is growing on me for the coconut water.
You got pulp in your coconut water?
Yeah, the Goya coconut water has pulp in it. Con trocitos. Is everyone perfectly back or almost perfectly back?
I'm here. Oh, side note, last name is Hafiz.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Half it.
Yeah, good kid.
Twist it. Hafiz. Bop it.
Annabelle Hafiz. Rhymes with office.
Are we waiting on anyone else? Everyone has
I
materialized?
don't know.
All right. So long is the night and dark is before the dawn, and all of those great sentiments of hope are abounding. Most won't be brave enough to admit it to themselves, but one of the very real facets of humanity is the essence of hope that things will not always be, even as you are adapting to that being your new normal, that tomorrow will be brighter than yesterday, and yesterday will fade into amber wine flavored memories of the good times. That hope is at the very core of all of humanity, because there is that need for it to be, for humanity to continue persisting. When all of the stressors, traumas, and dramas that they wreak upon themselves, it is intrinsic. It is necessary and needed. It is the one thing underneath all of the other piled on aspects of humanity that they can't shake off, that they can't quite escape from. Which is a very real double-edged sword, because moving into this life that these kindred have, that very small grain of hope is always there underneath all of the monstrosity, underneath all of the cruelty, underneath all of the despair that they cause and suffer. It is the hope that tomorrow will be better, that things will turn, that something will change for their benefit, to their benefit. Unfortunately, that is never, ever actually the case when you are ambulatory aspects of the void. Tomorrow only gets darker, because as you strive to fill that emptiness, you divest the world around you of ever increasing amounts of lightness. It's not a very happy thought, but being okay and understanding what your place in the ecosystem is as one of the apex predators of mankind, as one of the white blood cells of the multiversal space that you all inhabit, can provide a certain amount of equilibrium, able to feel and indulge in the world around you without ever actually being party to it, safe and secure in the knowledge and the acceptance of what you are. It's a heavy price to pay. And yet it's one that you all do so willingly as you age. By the second. There comes a point when you all reach the outer edge of the cemetery grounds, when the weight of the darkness around you has gotten to the point where you've accepted it for what it is, and that tomorrow may not ever change. this. This is the new normal, a world of everlasting darkness. And then you cross that all too true and all too actual boundary when you four cross that boundary. The electric buzz of whatever it is that Maddie is hearing out there in the darkness ends, and you've all reached where you're no longer on the Strickland Springs Cemetery grounds, the hallowed grounds of the cemetery. The world explodes back into light. The street lights up and down Strickland, spaced though they are at nearly the limit of one light to the next. The wane lights from south east of you, the heart of Bethany, the business district, the empty space where the Wascom fire station once was, the lights south of you down towards Elysian Fields where Joji has his store, all of the lights that you were not privy to out there in the darkness exploding into view. It's almost as if someone or something has fulfilled a promise, a pact, a agreement. The sound of Michael out there in the night dissipating on the wind. The screams of panic subsiding as more people realize the lights are on and their problems are over, or their problems are just beginning because of the things that they did while the world was pitch black. The lights of the circus feeling very much as if someone placed a small sun just there at your back. You're roughly the length of 2 football fields from where you began. You're at the furthest southwestern edge of the Strickland Cemetery grounds. You're not sure what boundary or median you crossed, but when you did, all the lights came on.
Ow! Fuck!
Oh, alright, that's right, he says as his eyes are... Do I have to make another fucking flashbang roll for this?
No.
Oh, thank God, okay.
You feel the damage, but there's nothing that's going to cause you to immediately launch into frenzy, fear, and worse. Not just yet.
Oh, thank God.
It's not God you need to thank.
Oh, thank Satan.
That's better. Thanks,
Nah.
Alright, well, glad we're out of all that bullshit.
Maddie will drop Findia's hand. Well, that was an adventure.
Yeah, do we hear, like, the sound of sirens or anything off in the distance? Are, like, the police actually coming this way?
Your way? No, there's too many fires needing to be put out. The Wascom Police Department is completely overrun with all of the calls coming due now. If you all were able to hear far off in the distance and the main line for the police, fire, and EMT services for both counties, you'd realize that hell really had visited the earth, because all of the texts that were sent into the 911 line are now hitting all at once, crashing servers, causing operators to literally pull their hair out with trying to accommodate a plan of accommodating all of the calls popping in, all of the texts swarming, all of the cries in the dark that never connected, hitting all at once.
Oh, God.
It's like beautiful music.
All those people that are out there volunteering to be fucking emergency services call centers are gonna regret it tonight. Let me see. Alright, so I mean, I guess we can say job done, because there's certainly whatever they needed the police pulled away from, it's not happening. And obviously this place is not exactly going to be seeing much in the way of tourism for a little bit.
So, what job were you doing exactly?
Maddie is just going to just sit down where she's at, crisscross applesauce, lean forward. None of y'all happened to make a deal while we were back there, did ya?
Did I? No, I don't remember. I don't think so.
I wouldn't say that, no.
Well, fuck.
Well, I told the old lady I'd speed her along if she told me what they were.
I mean, yeah, but then we had this one, she'll gesture at Annabelle, just kind of drop out from middle of nowhere. But yeah, somewhere someone paid something.
Well, let's hope that is not something that will come to bite us in the ass. You know, why am I saying that? I'm literally just jinxing us.
Maddie's just gonna look up at him with her arms crossed.
I'm sorry, okay? I realized halfway through.
The most unnerving thing about the lights suddenly coming on is not just that it was the electronic lights that just came on. The bonfire where the Hutchinsons were roasting and feeding their decent paying position springs back to life as if it had never ended, as if the fire hadn't been frozen in amber of solid darkness. So while you're roughly 2 football fields from where you began, you're only about 3/4 of a football field from where they set up their bonfire. And once the bonfire whooshed back into existence, they were once more feeding the chaos god, once more celebrating their good paying job and planning on taking these rubes, because they very well do have a plan afoot. Anyone with a streetwise of 2 understands it's always an inside job. It's always the workers who do such things. And having the Hutchinsons as the security, mapping out how much money is coming in, how many visitors the circus is having, knowing where the money is going, you've not only invited the fox into the hen house, but you have him collecting all the eggs.
Oh, and as he just, can we like see the like you said we can see the entirety of everything now, like even the circus itself. What kind of level of chaos are we seeing? Because from the audio that you described, people were fucking straight up just purging.
Well, yeah, definitely the purge if you water it down. Yeah, that's definitely what was happening.
I said, it was glorious.
Yes. You've all been children caught in the middle of something that you shouldn't. You've all seen children caught in the middle of something they shouldn't. Throw in a decade or 2 of actual lifetime experiences, and that's what you have. That, oh shit. as people stopped doing what the animal sides of their brains had told them that they get away with doing, as the fear that caused people to lament physically in fear becomes visible. The wet stains, the moist stains, the stains that were formerly actively conscious individuals, all of those things making themselves apparent. Those who just reached out in panic and start tearing at things, weeping and wailing, realizing the damage that they did. Those who were willing to try to fight free of the security harnesses on the Ferris wheel, trying to get free and maybe climb their way down by feel, falling as they did. Those who tried to escape the tilt-a-whirl as it stopped mid-motion, hanging in the air, and the natural biological responses. All of that is now visible to those who were party to it, often without realizing it. Those who acted on their animal impulses, thinking they can get away with it because no one could see them, as if this was the last day on Earth. They knew it was all over. They were packing it up and going home, now realizing that tomorrow will in fact come. That's the chaos you see in the circus.
It was the we're on a plane that's about to crash, might as well just do whatever you feel like.
And then you land safely in Denver. Sleipnir looking down on you as you all realize just how much you've actually done.
Mm-hmm.
Or for those of us who are loosely fans of Greek mythology, the Maenads have just had their Bacchanalia for Dionysus, and Pan. And they're coming down from their orgiastic high and realizing how much they've actually done. And worse yet, that one of them was not one of the worshipful. And why they're full, why they're satiated. That's what you're seeing at the carnival, at the circus behind you.
Yeah, I can certainly say that we fucked the place up.
Maddie's gonna watch over there for a little while and lean back on her arms.
If I'd known the carnival was going to be so exciting, I would have made more effort to show up. As it is.
You made an effort to show up?
No. I said I would have been.
Indeed.
Oh, you would have. Oh, sorry. I'm a little bit distracted right now.
And you just randomly out of nowhere says, fuck.
What?
The person that orchestrated all this bullshit, the fat man in the trailer, where the fuck did he go? He got away, didn't he? Which means he's gonna do this shit again. Somewhere else. I don't know what the fuck they were, but I swear it seems like some sort of thing that calls the spirit or traps things that are dead, and they have my brother.
I mean, yeah, well, if he has Michael, we can hunt that motherfucker down. But honestly, if we just freed something that he trapped in a fucking mirror, I don't think he's gonna be having a good fucking time right now.
Unless that was the point.
What, to have some big reverse flashbang happen whenever we broke the mirrors?
Well, no, we were supposed to be trapped in there with it, but, you know, the little witch, the old witch, whatever you want to call her, She was saying that very happy that something got out and that, this wasn't how it was supposed to happen.
He's looking for him. But at the same time, he gets away quick enough.
You let something out of a mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I was like trapped in one, but yeah.
Interesting. That might explain a little.
You can go on now.
When the lights went out, I was also pulled into not exactly a mirror, but a reflection.
Yeah.
Say more.
Why?
Because context might help us understand what the hell went on. Also, it's very odd to me that you got pulled through a mirror to our exact location.
It's very odd to me as well, given that it seems to be something you did that caused it.
Yeah.
It was your little mirror experience, a paradise of sorts.
I would not say that, no.
Well, then it wasn't the same mirror.
It was cathartic, though.
Okay. What happened to you? He points to Maddie. What happened to you when you went in the mirror?
Oh, I had a nice little time in the library reading a book. Some cats that were more dragon size. Baby dragon, maybe.
You have a very odd understanding of paradise.
What, you think I swing axes all my life?
I'm not gonna lie, I would not have been surprised.
I did go to university.
That?
She will roll her eyes.
Speaking of university, your compatriot, Lita, is no longer in your presence.
And just as that sudden realization happened, oh fuck.
What?
We're missing one.
Oh, fuck.
Just kind of raises his voice. Lita, you around here? Ain't time to be shy.
It's unlikely. She's either still in there, didn't want to come out, or it's possible she's back at, and she'll point at Annabelle again, this one's office. Unlikely. But maybe.
Fascinating. We could go to my office.
He was willing to trade our lives for his. That's why he trapped us in there. On the off chance that thing got out, that it would take us first and not him.
Yeah.
But it wants him.
Doesn't mean he won't take what's offered. Hunger is hunger. We've all made some bad choices.
Are we talking about me?
I mean, specifically, no. But if you have something you need to say,
No.
say it.
Oh, no. Sorry, like I said, I'm just a little bit of a overload sensory-wise, so experiencing good old form of ADHD right now. Actually, I'm gonna tone down my attention to detail. That's probably going to help me out a little bit. He says that I deactivate heightened senses so I don't get fucking yelled at by a semi-truck.
Hey, y'all see that old man over there?
Follows her point.
She'll follow the gaze.
Hey, how do you know what they identify as? About 125 feet south by southwest of where you presently are. It's where the ground that was some of the most fertile in the area was used to create the Strickland Cemetery. It's where legend has it, there are hidden caves underneath the water. There are places where people disappear and are used to fertilize and sanctify the Strickland Cemetery grounds. There are also rolling, cresting hills that blend very much into the landscape because most people believe that this portion of Texas is perfectly flat. That's not true. The land camouflages itself one against the next, so a rolling hill from one altitude, from one plateau, looks completely flat until you are at a distance. And 125 feet south by southwest, just at the mouth of one of the larger coin lakes in the area, and also one of the deepest. It's usually places like that are called the Devil's Hole or Anus or some orifice because it is in fact so deep. It's only 75 feet from end to end in diameter. Circumference of it is not much larger than that either. Yet it is in fact approximately, because no one's actually managed to survive diving completely down without electromagnetic interference and various other things always going wrong. It's easily 4 to 5 stories deep and potentially more. And right where the ground bends and dips towards that hole, there's a little old man. And by little, he's literally crouching on his haunches, one finger under his chin, stroking his scraggly beard and holding a handheld parabolic microphone and a oversized headphone piece of gear over his head as he strokes and listens and he looks like the modern definition of a panhandler, of someone who mines for gold in riverbeds and streams.
Damn it, Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah. Local crackpot. Loves conspiracy theories.
Give me a second while I flash onto the Miro. This might be the Jerry that I know too. Oh, okay, this is that Jerry. Alright, I don't know this one. Unless he's flashed up to the store to sell some shit recently.
No, he's one of your best customers. You never got his name.
Oh God!
But he always buys the old radios, headsets, transistor radios, all of the old communication tech is literally right up his alley. And unlike most people who come in for an old radio to give their kids or their grandma who's set off in the back porch to silently drift away into nothingness, he pays without asking the price. He literally comes in. Oh, I see you got it. Whoa, what's this one? This one's from. Oh, okay. I'll take both of these. No haggling off the price. Just here's the money. I gotta go. Bye. He's never sold you a God blessed thing, which is a problem usually, because usually their money runs out.
Wait, his name is Jerry? I always called him the phone freak.
Yeah. You can find him blathering on one of the AM stations at like 2 in the morning.
Oh. Okay. Hi, Jerry. Nice to see you again.
While 125 feet is still close enough to be heard, it sounds murmur-like if you don't happen to have heightened senses. So you're from his distance, you sound.
Maddie will.
As he just looks at me quizzically, I should probably get a little bit closer before I try to get in this attention, shouldn't I?
You think? Maddie will stand up and brush her hands on the side of her jeans and start walking over that way.
Oh, okay. Hey, I know you said he's a conspiracy theorist and all that. If he pulls a gun, sorry?
What do you mean?
What? And we.
Just saying, like, I've known paranoid people to do some very crazy things when they're approached by people in the middle of the nowhere.
By the way, when the light came back on, I turned my eyes off.
Oh no!
So
I'm not.
Yeah.
They're not glowing.
I don't.
You just noted that, which means
Right. Whatever.
some interesting contact lenses there, girly.
I mean, I don't think he'll do anything. He and my grandpa used to talk.
And when you say talk,
I don't know, as a fucking little girl. Come over, have a beer sometimes.
no?
She'll just walk towards him.
Andy, are you closing the distance with the rest of your group, or are you standing trying to decide on what other options to do?
I think India would go with Maddie because of what Joji said about the gun. So she's not trying to let Maddie kind of out of her sight, even though because she's the one with the gun.
She is the one with the gun, and the worst thing is, as you get closer to Jerry, you realize something else. That one of the things that the other members of your group may not. Partially because, well, you know, Joji isn't really a cowboy, and Maddie just fixes things for cowboys. Dr. Hafiz is not the outdoorsy sort when they were alive, so why would they do so after death? However, India understands who Jerry is from a very different vantage point. You know, there's always that crazy old galoot that even the cowboys don't fuck with, because crazy is contagious. That's been Jerry. There's only one person that you know that has ever dealt socially and amicably with him was unfortunately your junior high bully, Max, or as he likes to be called now by his full name, Maximilian Alsterman. They once had a fight where Jerry came out on top over a woman. He never quite found out who she was.
Just the fact that he beat Max kind of puts a smile on India's face.
Most people, when having a group of individuals appear out of the dark at them, jump. Even if they restrain it, there is a tensing of the muscles or prepared to either fight or flight. As you all walk up, Jerry holds up a finger. Just one on his left index. And you can tell that he's counting in his head. He looks at the ground, closes his eyes for exactly 4.5 seconds, reaches in his pocket and throws salt over his left shoulder, reaches in his right pocket and throws grains of clearly something heavier than it looks, because you can hear it as it hits the ground behind him over his right. He exhales twice and then opens his eyes looking at you, frowning, make sure you're still there. Well, hey, Shrink. Oh, hey, Maddie, how we doing?
Not bad. How are you, Jerry?
Pretty good night for a celestial storm, ain't it?
Yeah. What was up with that?
Oh, well, you had planet Euphicius move into the Gemini house, and winter was feuding with fall. I'm guessing that there's been a change of seasonal thrones some house or another took. You ain't really care, do you?
I mean,
Fascinating.
it's always interesting to learn whatever it is. You said fall and winter?
Well, yeah. Unlike most places, the royal houses, the thrones and the crowns of the season, they aren't held by the same Fey touch families. Here, they change hands all the time. There's corporate espionage and takeovers that happen because the seasons are so joined. Some would say incestuous. You know how we can have 120 degrees in the heat during the day and 25 degrees at night? That's because the houses, the throne holders and the crown holders feud amongst themselves to exert their authority over mankind. Well, hey there, pawn shop man.
Hi. He just says after finishing the rapid blinking of disbelief with that interesting enlightenment. How's it going? I see some of the stuff you've bought from me is out and about.
Oh yeah, well, if you learn how to freak it, you can use a standard transistor radio to magnify the white noise of magic in the air to detect and observe various other elemental things that are happening. When everybody closes their eyes to things, and it's happening right in front of your eyes. When the royal houses of the sealy and the unsealy have their fights, there's usually some elemental aspect to it, like what happened over there. Luckily, if you know what you are doing, and that's the fun part about all this, everyone just thinks that it's all crazy and it doesn't make any sense. However, the magnets that are in this here transistor, and then that one there, and then that broadcast magnifier and amplifier, that is enough iron to make yourself inured and protected from what they were doing. You see all them folks giving themselves over to the gods of lust, which are just seely lords. Inside my little circle, I am perfectly protected. I'm able to notice and watch and observe. Hence the reason why I was concerned about your conversation. Not that I was eavesdropping on purpose, but, and then he points to the parabolic mic that is sitting pointing in your general direction.
Yeah. Let's see. So what did you make of our little conversation there?
That you all have been Fey touched? That you all have been taken by, well, less than scrupulous children of Fey? You know, we have several of the minor lords in our area. If I were you, I'd take a railroad spike. That's the easiest cold forged iron that you can find. Most people think that cold forge is something special that you gotta do. They fail to realize that the only difference between regular iron and cold forge is the touch of human hands, beating the iron into a shape using fire created by mankind. There's not any real difference between that and every other iron. In fact, most iron that we used up until 1920 or so was all cold forge. There's a reason why the Fae never could really start taking as much control as they would have liked. But unfortunately, one of the things that they did and fostered was make mankind dream of automation, which makes most of the iron today, the few pieces that are used, that is everywhere now, and girders of buildings that would normally they wouldn't be able to enter into, and railroad rails they wouldn't normally have been able to ride, inside cars that they would normally have been affected by is now all non-cold forged iron, which gives them the opportunity of toughing it out and using all these things just like regular folks like you and I. It gives them more power than they should have. It gives them the ability to do things like tonight.
Annabelle is taking notes, but not because she thinks he knows anything, but because she's fascinated by his whole thing.
I mean, hey, if there's a way that we can prove we're not fate touched, I mean, you got some cold iron on you?
You one of them sorts, huh? I didn't take you for a fool. You do know that once the horses get out the barn, it's too late to close the damn door. The only thing you do is go out and find the horse and drag him back in, right?
What?
Okay. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Kind of. Maddie, you certainly do have some very wise people underneath your influence.
I don't know. I call them within my influence.
I've been looking out for Matt since she was a little girl. It's the reason why most of her folks' property is properly protected from the Fae. Why do you think that church never goes anywhere near her family property anymore?
You think the church is connected to the Fae?
That's why I tried to get that damn fool, no good cousins of a cousin of mine to understand. Him and that crazy old woman, Mavis, trucking with that caravan of Christ. Don't they understand that all of these roving circuses ain't nothing more than either Fae or Fae imprisoned, mind-raped individuals?
Gotcha. There's this kind of like war going on in Ryan's head where he's like, firstly, did we say anything back there that means this guy needs to die? Secondly, I can't necessarily discount anything you're saying because I don't fucking know. As he just looks over to Maddie and once again he's like,
She's just gonna shrug.
Okay. Looks back to Jerry.
Oh, hey there. I didn't see you back there. You weren't smiling, Miss Love. How you doing?
I'm fine, but just got one little question for you. What you know about Children of Prometheus? What the hell is that?
That's a great question, actually.
No, you don't want to talk with them. That is what happens when the Fae have children with mad scientists. They are the creatures of imagination given flesh. Them there, however, wherever they go, trouble's gonna follow. All sorts of things ride along in their way. You know how on the big ships that make their way across with all of them people wasting their money buying, half a thimble of alcohol per day? In the wake of those ships, because they're so wasteful, they toss their garbage overboard, they toss, this, that, and the other overboard. Whereas during the slave trade, there used to be sharks. Now, there are all these bottom feeders that follow along and change migrational paths to follow these ships. The children of Promethean, being the bastards of human imagination and Fae love, have all of these other things in their wake. Demons and monsters and lesser things that get stuck because it's easy feeding. And eventually some of them, well, at least what I heard, some of them get imprisoned, get stuck where they are, get trapped, and they ain't got no escape, so they get angry and hungry. You ever see a caged tiger versus one out there in the wild? That depression with the will to live causes them to go a lot stir crazy. that even when they are released into the wild, they expect humankind to feed them. And that resentment of not being fed usually turns them into man-eaters. That's what happens to the things in the wake of the children of Prometheus. The things that get stuck in their wake. The things that get drugged along with them. Because, if they sit in one place too long, they poison the earth. They poison the ground. They poison the people around them.
Is it intentional, this poisoning?
When you fart, do you intend to burn everybody's nose hairs?
Maddie will laugh.
Depends on the day.
Exactly. So while you may not be intended to, it will behoove you to exit yourself, but depending on how you feel about those who are nearby, you don't. Sometimes you let it rip because it will offend. Sometimes you let it rip because you don't got time to think. And most times, when you are by yourself, you don't care how many of your nose hairs you lose.
Certainly have a way with words.
Well, ain't no way you tell except for right. Because by the time you get done telling everything, there shouldn't be nothing left. Knowledge is the one thing you can give away all day long, and you never run out of. Most folks don't sit down and listen long as this. Hell, last time I tried talking to you, Maddie, you didn't pay no attention when I was telling you about your heritage, about how your father wanted you to. Wait, that's family business. I probably shouldn't be saying that now. I will try to reach out again to you later when you are not with your associates.
I'll tell you what, come by after your show. I'll still be awake.
No, not tonight you won't. With such celestial convergences, we will go until actual sunrise. The only way to make sure that you're going to be safe. You do realize that even protected as I am, once I leave my circle of iron, that I may become affected by whatever those dastardly fae were out there doing. Or worse yet, I may become victim to whatever those dastardly fae were doing to those who are left.
And what would you say would be their goal?
Same as any capitalist. Profit. Their personal profit, of course, being emotionality. The energy that's cast off by the things that we do, they feed on like fucking blood-sucking vampires.
Yeah, so that bacchanal, that was them feeding?
Oh, hell yeah. What would you do if you get invited to a cookout when there's 2 calves and several bulls all sliced up and ready to go? Been slow smoking for all day long. You're not gonna grab your piece?
I mean, absolutely would not resist that.
So even if they weren't the ones who instigated everything, you think they just gonna let all that just sit there go to waste? You think they're not gonna egg it on a little bit, pull a little bit of their magic out, make sure that everybody near enough gets high and crazy and does all sorts of things, just leaving it all hanging out there? You know, last time they did something like this, what was that? About 8-9 years ago, when Michael had his, well, you know.
Do I know?
Oh yeah, Bethany is the place where young men and women who decide to join the service receive parades before they've actually gone into boot. Bethany is the sort of place where prom weekend is a month-long festivity. Where homecoming, there are parties and festivities that take all shapes and sizes, from key parties to struts and walks to dances and balls, and it is a place where the celebration of tradition typically takes precedence over everything else.
Okay. As he's just filing away as much of this as he can mentally, just like I need to have a conversation with somebody that knows better later.
Maddie will chuckle at Joji. Okay. Well, I gotta get these people home. I'd give you a hug, but I'm sure you don't want me in your little circle thing.
No, I wouldn't put that pain on anybody. Because just because you don't know don't mean you deserve to be whipped over it. We'll find out what's what tomorrow night. As people come down from their high and slowly realize what they've done. You're going to see a lot of people do a lot of self-inflicted harm to themselves if this is what I think it is. If this is what I know it is, there's going to be more people on that back page of the obituary. I guarantee you that.
Well, that is a shame.
Well, it keeps the population fresh. Only the strong survive, especially when the powers of the night get their hands on you.
That is a fact.
All right. Well, then I will see you tomorrow night, I guess.
Maybe. I plan on being out near. He looks around as if there are enemies hiding in bushes that don't exist. You know that the Catholic Church got it almost right. The saints of the day is a message from on high in regards to various things. Tomorrow, if everything tonight is actually as true as I believe that it might, that crossroad right there at Spring Ridge, where Spring Ridge turns into Cold Quit, and where Greenwood turns into Spring Bridge Road, that crossroad has been the center of so many perils, so much problems. And if what happened tonight is actually happening, the only safe place to be and to reconsecrate yourselves to yourselves is that crossroad. There's I hate to say it for you, but because of where those roads come from and head off to, there's power flowing into that intersection. It is one of the places where you might reach out and touch powers that are not here. It's one of the places where you may reach out, just like on Maury, find out who the father is, so to speak. So I plan on being there to witness all of the absolute shenanigans that I'm expecting them to try to stave off. You're going to have powers from the middle of hell reaching up, trying to keep people from getting to that crossroad, from getting to that intersection. Because that intersection holds power on the average. And tomorrow night, after the event has finally settled into place and the new normal, whatever that's going to be, will be what it's going to be, that'll be your escape clause. And everything in their mama going to try to keep you from getting there. Here's the reason why I'm planning on getting down there before the sun go down, before they powers are at their highest. And I will be there to witness and let the world know what we are dealing with.
Well, all right.
Very concerned look over to Maddie as he's just like, that's good. Spread the word.
If I can get there, I will see you there.
Sure thing. You know, you may want to get there early. The diner there, Sunset. Oh, some of the best Irish potatoes you done ever had there in your life. They mix in cilantro and them green chilies from over in Arizona. Makes the best little attempt at scrapple you done ever had. It's all potatoes with a little cheese and sausage and various vegetables thrown in there, but it is literally all potatoes.
I'll do my best. But you know me, I've always been a night owl.
Early is better. Potatoes are fresher. They get good when they get a little crispy around the edges, but after a while, they're still good. And you're still going to want to eat far more than your share, but it is always best early in the evening.
Maddie would just nod at him. All right. Everyone ready to go?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I will talk to you later, Jerry.
Uh-huh.
And she will
Again.
turn around and walk off.
Just kind of following behind and just waves. Keeps in. Just keeping an eye out to make sure he doesn't put his fucking parabolic back.
And Yukina leans into the rest of them, lowering her voice. I know you don't like them, Georgie, but we gotta swing back to the Hutchins. I think I might be able to use them to find the escapee. Get them on our side and at least put them to work.
Well, that was colorful.
Yeah, he's always been a little bit of a riot.
Lovely gentleman. He pays a lot, so that's just a habit of his business. I'm gonna leave it there until we're out of range.
So this nonsense about Faye.
He's been fixated on them for a while.
And he thinks he can monitor them with electronics?
I mean, what else would you monitor them with?
I don't know, magic circles or fucking diagrams or something. I don't know. Say.
If you were listening, he kind of did have one made out of those transistors.
That's true. He said something about having enough metal.
Iron.
And she checks her notes. Iron.
Here's the funny thing.
So...
And only as you all are moving away and walking away and concocting your plans for how best to tackle the situation ahead of you, none of you had the inclination to cross the boundary into a space. The thought occurred to several of you along the path of the conversation. A simple handshake or a fist bump, or get close enough to see if he's really telling the truth, if there's something that would repel you. And even as those thoughts played out in your subconscious and barely into your conscious minds, none of you all had the inclination to do so. No one attempted to test that boundary. There's a immediate understanding as to the power of belief. Most people learn it by either watching or viewing or going to the play in regards to Peter Pan. But there's an understanding that all fiction has some elements of fact to it. None of you all were tempted to engage in the common hospitality of greeting someone you kind of almost know. None of you all were attempting to step forward. And even before Maddie made a very pointed observation, the inclination to cross that boundary never quite materialized into actual action. Was that due to his personal beliefs or the fact that he was right?
Neither of those things bodes particularly well, so... Far be it from me to suggest that magic isn't real, given the things that we know.
I mean, yeah, that's the biggest quandary I was having. I need to figure out, like, I need to talk to somebody who knows stuff.
But somebody who would talk to us.
Like a group of pagans who are still feeding themselves.
Yeah, like them.
Look, I'm more than happy to go and watch you all talk to the Hutchinsons.
Oh, they're not going to hurt you while you're with me.
Uh-huh.
They'll wait till I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
She'll give him a little wolfish smile.
I understand the Hutchinsons are cousins of yours?
Go back a few generations and you can find a divergent line.
Doesn't take so many generations in Bethany, as one might suspect.
Are you going to have this luxurious red hair?
I cannot deny your hair is fantastic. Nor would I want to.
Oh, that's the best compliment I've had all night.
Wait a minute. We thought we... How was his microphone and radios still working when everybody else's shit went off? Like phones weren't working, lights weren't working, none of that. It was pitch black, but his stuff was working.
It's actually a really good... Maddie, you gotta talk to him and figure out, because if that thing is still floating about, I would love to figure out how to protect my ship.
Didn't he say something about it being his circle of protection or something?
Yeah, his iron.
Yeah.
He did also say a couple of things about old railroad tracks and the, spikes. Don't think he quite meant that you need to nail one into yourself, though.
And then again, couldn't hurt.
Could be fun.
We should try. Railroad tracks over there. She points in the general direction of the railroad tracks.
Yeah, for
I've got some things at home I might be able to use. I've got some things at home I might be able to use.
Nice.
I don't think we want to go digging railroad spikes out of the railroad. I mean, have you ever seen what happens when things derail? The amount of life that's lost?
I think we've got some sections that aren't in use anymore.
Plus, I mean, accidents happen.
Now, I'm no stranger to taking a life, but haven't done anything that big.
Fair enough. So, an unused section of track, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find one of those. Well, like I said, I probably have some things at home that might be useful, or maybe I can ask some of my extended family.
What sorts of things do you have at home?
I mean, sometimes people like decoration in their carpentry. Yeah.
I wonder if you could make jewelry out of it.
As you all have been walking towards where the Hutchinsons were still feeding themselves, you all begin hearing, and I'm going to give you a very poor Spanish that they are yelling in their very backwoods, East Texas, slightly Louisiana accent. Poderosas razas entrelazados en el profundo núcleo de la tierra, préstame la firmeza de las montañas, la resistencia. Basically, those of you who speak Spanish, does anyone speak Spanish?
Yes. And French. And English.
It was never on paper established what languages Joji speaks. All I know is he is Mexican American.
Those of you who understand.
India also speaks Spanish.
Those of you who understand Spanish, it is almost laughable that these neo-pagan, by way of South Central and Northern America, are chanting and singing full-throatedly in their half-English, Spanish, Spanglish, mighty roots of Yggdrasil, entwined in earth's deep core, litany the steadfastness of mountains, the endurance of ages bore. Hail to the Aether! Hail to Vanir! From Midgard! And they are literally, drunkenly, in Spanish, holding a pagan equivalent of night church around the bonfire. Does anyone have an occult of 2 or higher?
Yes.
I believe we established there's only one person in here who is a little bit of a cult.
It is a Norse prayer for strength. The sort of prayer that berserkers and those given to the occupation of being Vikings would chant and yell and pray towards Odin before engaging in glorious conquest. Before the longboats actually touched down on shore, they would be praying and conducting ceremonies to provide themselves with strength and a good return for their efforts. This is one such prayer. And plus, it sounds extraordinarily demonic in actual Scandinavian and Danish and Norse. It sounds absolutely maniacal. In Spanish, it's not that far out, but it is definitely less bone-rattling.
Mario paused for a second. Huh. Didn't know they could speak anything other than barbarian.
What?
They're, it's a Norse prayer in Spanish.
It's
What? Okay.
I didn't know they knew Spanish.
that is
Oh yeah, they're
lovely
yeah.
levels of bastardization.
talking about conquest and basically raiding and pillaging.
Fun.
I am not surprised.
They're Spanish Vikings. Does that make them spankings?
I feel as if they'd gotten a few more in their youths, they might not be out here.
I mean, I'm not. I guess I would be old enough to turn him over my knee, huh?
Question is, would he enjoy it?
After I'm done with him,
Okay.
Annabelle gets flashbacks for earlier that night.
Pillaging and raiding who, though?
probably,
Who they going to pillage and raid?
who do they ever pillage and raid?
The local liquor stop.
Well, that, and they have all of these fresh targets. They're, just coming out of their reverie, I guess.
Wait a second. Are they about to just go rush the fucking crowd?
I mean, you have met my cousins, right?
The moment you
Yes.
say,
I just.
you have met my cousins, you hear a gut-expanding roar from the bonfire, met by others, and they take off into the crowd of the circus. The circus is closed! Get the...
Josie just looks on in like enthralled horror of like, I knew they were fucking monsters, but this is what the fuck?
You aren't the only one who is in fact very... You all are not the only ones absolutely gobsmacked. Jim is standing there, a plate of barbecue in one hand and a bottle of Lone Star half to his lips, while looking around as if he moves, he might attract their attention. Standing perfectly still, he's mostly okay as they go running into the circus as he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
I will yell over into the distance. They're not dinosaurs. They're not vision-based.
You can, in fact, move. Call reinforcements or so. Wait, is this guy? Okay, no. Sorry, I totally mistook his picture for having a badge on it because that shiny patch.
Well, that's what happens when you patch your own clothing after a while. That's actually
Just
four different shirts, patched together.
Oh yeah, it's one of those don't waste materials type thing. Do we want to stop them? Do we care to stop them?
I mean, I could stop probably one of them, but I'm not big enough to stop all of them.
I mean, to be fair, like our them running everybody out of the circus is kind of fulfilling one of our goals, as far as I'm aware.
India, what were you saying?
Well,
I said the point was to get the cops out here, so if the blackout didn't do it, this is bound to.
I mean, yeah.
And as you all think about that, with them being inundated with as many emergencies as they have been inundated with, there is one thing that would rise to the level of taking over all of the other emergencies of equal importance right now. One single solitary thing. And it is not a horde of the Hutchinsons being thugs and bullies, because they're not brandishing weapons. Their only armaments are the guns underneath their cut-off sleeves and their hands. That's the problem with intelligent criminals. They know how not to escalate to the next level of response. They don't give a shit. They'll take as many people with them as they can if they have to. But until it gets to that point, they clearly have a goal in mind. They are clearly working with the tools at their leisure to achieve their goal. And as they're making their way through their circus, kicking, pushing, punching, telling everybody the circus is fucking closed, they haven't escalated to the point where, yeah, people are calling, oh my god, these people are kicking our ass, we're at this, but it's not severe enough to take precedence over all of the other calls that came in at once.
We need a nice gunshot.
I don't own a firearm.
I mean, let me, there's probably not any payphones anywhere near around. Anyone got a phone I could borrow?
If it still works, yeah.
Alright.
Pulls out this nigh indestructible vintage Nokia.
Nice.
Nice. Oh wow, that's
As you pull out,
It is
that's
both.
a good one.
as you pull out the phone that's old enough and secure enough that it can be used as a cudgel, so too falls a smooth, slightly warm, black lava-esque rock from your pocket.
Oh, what the fuck? Picks it up. When did that get in there?
I don't know, but she'll take the phone and she will dial a number from memory. Her dear friend, Mr. Carl Atkins.
The entire time she's talking to him, he's just gonna be like, what the fuck is this rock?
We got them from the other shop. They sent us with these. They're kind of like walkie-talkies to call her back up if we absolutely need.
Wait, are you saying the Rock is a walkie-talkie?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
so.
It's called a sending stone.
Wait,
That's what they say. It's sending stone.
So we know people who can make walkie-talkies. Therefore, maybe they will also know other magic.
no, wait a second. You're saying that this is a sending stone? He shakes it a little bit.
Yeah,
How the fuck does it work?
You just talk into it.
Hello?
While you're trying to figure out how to use the sending stone, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your excuse me, resolve plus either. You really don't have much to use, but let's give you a fair shot. Resolve plus either your occult or your etiquette, or
Okay.
or you can just make
Okay.
a willpower.
You know, I'll probably end up spending a willpower on the fucking on the fucking check anyways. Oh no, I'm out of willpower. I have to risk the check. I have to risk the check. You know what? Might I rouse for this, good sir?
Yes. Yes, you might. You may tempt the beast and tap into all of that potential dark strength to do something mystical right on the ground
All right,
where all of the other mystical stuff had been happening.
What could go wrong?
Okay, 3 successes, and then yeah, 3 successes.
Excellent. I'm going to have my mama told me to pick. Annabelle, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure +3 for me, please? And while that's happening, yo, now's not the time, baby. I told you I'm gonna pick it up on the way home. We got so many calls tonight.
I know. I figured it'd be easier to get a hold of you this way than actually calling 911.
Oh shit. Oh hey, Maddie, what's going on? I can't really talk right now. We got a lot of shit going on.
I know, it's crazy. I'm out here at the circus, and I thought I heard some gunshots over in the distance. I didn't know if you wanted to send someone out here, but, I couldn't get through on the 911 line.
What circus?
The carnival that came into town.
We're not supposed to have a carnival in the area until, and you can see that you can hear him bringing up a database somewhere else. And they're gonna set up out in Elysian Fields. What circus are you talking about?
I don't know. My cousins invited me out here. There's like this whole shindig by the cemetery.
Which cemetery? We don't have anybody taking church grounds, right? Not until August. What's going on? Where are you actually at?
Well, I'll give him the location.
Strickland. The bishop is actually down in Shreveport. There shouldn't be anybody out. You know what? I'm gonna send a car as soon as I can. Can you stay on? You know what? Shit. What number is this? It's not showing up.
It's one of my friend's phones. I don't carry a phone with me.
Yeah, I need that number. I'm gonna call you back on the main line. Get that number from me.
Hey, Johnny boy, what's your number?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. Okay.
She'll shake the phone at him.
Here, it'll just... I know exactly...
As you have him on the phone, as you shake the phone at him, Joji reaches out through the ether, and you can hear someone on the other side of that stone speaking from the middle of nowhere. A face starts to appear. You can see reddish tinged hair faintly filling into the middle space of nothing in front of him as he's tapping into the energy of the stone. As he's getting a message out, someone's able to see and speak, and the moment that the face becomes nearly identifiably visible, it shimmers as if it's made of liquid metal from that old movie Terminator 2. It shimmers in the dark, in the space in between you all, and fades into nothing more than a mirror's face. It's as if someone is holding up a very large handheld mirror. You called?
Oh, yeah, hi.
Hello.
That was unexpected.
How is it unexpected? You called.
Yeah, sorry, I just kind of forgot what this thing did.
Yes. That's understandable. It's not what you want. It's not what you need.
Yeah. So, were you privy to the light show that just happened?
Yes, all of that dreadful light. That is a shame, unfortunately. But you know what you want. You know what you need. You would much rather prefer Norbit didn't exist. So why don't you speak on that? Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, you need to shut that shit down right now.
No, you don't. You put your
I don't know. This is kind of speaking my language.
you put yourself last far too often, Jonathan. You've put yourself as something unimportant, and that shouldn't be where you are right now. Duty only goes so far if you are failing the duty to yourself.
Are you guys sure this is a sending stone?
No, I am not. However, it seems to be sending something. Can the rest of us hear what's going on?
Yes.
Other than his side?
Yes, you can. The worst thing is, for each of you outside of Joji and India, it's Lita's face dancing there just beneath the mirror surface. Faintly there you can make out those sunken spaces that were her darkly gleaming red eyes, that long, seemingly bottled red hair, that scent of dead flowers that hung about her, and that all too skeletal-like chin and cheek structure.
Charming.
You want to be free of pain, don't you, Jonathan? Don't you?
Yeah.
Then look deeply. Look into yourself and find that strength. Look here. Meet your gaze.
Wow. Is he just like kind of slowly pulling it away from himself as they keep saying, look, look, look? He's like, I've been traumatized about looking tonight. I'm You know what? It was probably better for you to be in my pocket. Just
the moment that you put the stone away, or try to put the stone away to stop speaking into that middle space where that mirror is shimmering there before you, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure?
That's bad.
Come on, it'll go great.
No.
What was India seeing while he was doing that?
Michael.
What?
Trapped.
Oh.
Pinned down as the targets of opportunity for his unit turned into being a trap. Like all situations where there's a decision that must be made, the leaders must run into danger. And unfortunately, his unit's actual top kick was down, being medically treated, well, triaged in the middle of the firefight. That left Michael to take control of the unit, to lead his men to some semblance of safety. That required, unfortunately, a sacrifice that he was willing to pay. You see him kiss the St. Michael pendant your father passed down to him from his time in the service, that your father got from your grandfather, that was passed down to him in the same St. Michael's pendant that is sitting on the mantelpiece on the ranch. Now, it came home in its effects, along with his purple heart and medal of valorous conduct. That stupid folded flag, his dog tags. You see it happening. You see it unfolding. You know what that consideration required. That kiss was a kiss goodbye. That kiss was understanding the greatest probability of him not returning. And he did it anyway. And then you see Joji becoming one with your brother. He's moving forward towards that shimmering mirror-like surface hanging there in the middle of space. He's struggling to pull the stone from his ear, from his view, and slip it into his pocket. But as he's doing so, like a iceberg shearing off, or more accurately, more familiarly to you all, a drunk falling in slow motion, he's falling into all of that shimmering space in front of him. He's leaning forward as the stone he's struggling to put into his pocket, as if it's suddenly heavier than it should be.
He is going to react and tackle him to the ground in the opposite direction of the mirror.
Oh! As the linebacker that is India slams into him.
Strong and capable. And the worst thing for India in that moment is she knows that if she is successful, there's a chance that, much like Michael, she would be sacrificing herself for other members of her unit. The parallels do not escape her, as she has to cross within view of all of that shining, shimmery surface and putting herself the closest being to it to keep Joji from falling into it. Sometimes loyalty and bravery is in fact the familial curse, the generational curse passed down one hand to the next, hiding just out of sight, waiting for the right drink to hit your lips. And as India and Joji crash to the ground, as the mirrored space hanging there in the middle of space dissipates, looking as if it's been shattered into 100 pieces. The night is a long space. It is the only space in which the kindred exists, and it will persist forever. Even though the day changes, Tuesday into Wednesday, Wednesday into Thursday, so forth and so on, the kindred only exist half of the possible 24 hours. And that is even truncated more, because for them, there is no difference between the days that pass. There's no difference for them for the weeks that pass. The potential and promise of forever has its own burden, because it is forever and always the exact same night, endlessly. There's something fairly depressing about that understanding. There's something fairly despondent in all of that truth. And as India and Joji hit the ground, and as he looks into the face of his savior, they are once more in close proximity. And while she looks at him as if he is in fact something and someone worth sacrificing for, as if she looks down into that face and sees someone worth the effort, he looks up into her face, and for the first time he sees someone else. He sees not his sire, not the moment shared with her, but he sees India for who she is and what she could be. If his sire was his world, staring up into India's face, she was the universe. And in that moment of realization for those two, as you all were witness to yet another member of your potential coterie disappearing into the nothingness, as the night stretches on endlessly before you all, with chaos abounding, with the Hutchinsons doing what the Hutchinsons do, which is throwing monkey wrenches into even celestial beings' plans. I'd like to thank you all for being here, for offering me the opportunity to enjoy these characters' night. I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night. That was not a fucking sending stone, you bitches.